Mhm. Hello, how's it going? Think I just kicked off this impromptu live, so we'll see as people join in. Perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to do this live because it's been a while since I've done it. And yeah, ask me anything. If you have any questions, whatever, I'm just going to highlight as those questions come up. You can throw those questions in the chat and then we can go from there. Mhm. Guess, hey everyone, as people are joining in. Mm, mhm. For those folks who join in a bit later, I'm just doing a live chat. So ask me anything in the chat and we can go. Ask me anything in the chat and we can go from there. Mhm. So, yeah, we have our first question. How do you think AI coding agents will change the role of senior full stack developers over the next 3 to 5 years? That's a really good question and something I was actually hoping someone asked for sure. I think the what I basically think is that it's completely going to change, not just like 3 to 5 years. I think it's just going to change every 6 months or to a year, wherein if you sort of don't really get on with it, I think people are just really going to struggle, especially us as devs. It's just going to I personally feel like probably more roles are going to get replaced overall into engineer roles. So, like the more full stack you are, and not just that, I think the more product mindset you have, I think the better it's going to be overall as well. So, I do think that not just developers, I guess, but overall, a lot of people in the company will have sort of like more power to execute whatever they want to execute. So I do think that we have to get on with it and like get on top of it and build coding agents or automate workflows. I do think that local AI will also come and play a lot as well. But in terms of like 9 to 5 and stuff like that, I do think that a lot of companies are going to unfortunately lay off a lot of folks because we are not going to need that many engineers anymore. And I think the only way for you to stand out is start getting on with the times and start learning these agents and AI models and how we can sort of like build with it overall. So I don't think full stack devs are completely going to go away because obviously we need to still maintain the infrastructure. But I think what we do with our time is drastically going to change with architecture and design. Eventually, I'm pretty sure there are going to be more models that are going to be trained on that. So I do feel like that is also going to slowly reduce, and AI is going to do everything, and we need more of I guess senior engineers who know how to work with those and maybe efficiently um, build with it essentially. But more product mindset you have, the better it's going to be for everyone. You cannot just be a developer that codes. You also need to have like architectural skills, design skills, a product mindset. And overall, when you get hired onto the team, you're not just doing one thing, you're going to have to wear multiple hats as well. So that's a great question. Any other questions, please throw it in the chat. My focus right now, I think I am working on a video now that we you will learn how you can like build as a senior engineer, but like what it takes to build with skills and you know like overall just how you could engineer and architect a lot of your projects, because so far what I've been like sort of showing you is like how you could like build and more so like handhold you in general, right? So yeah, what one should do instead of living in a constant fear of layoff. I'm hearing Upwork is kind of dead too. I do think that instead of, I guess, fearing layoffs in general, I do think that it's more important that we embrace it, right? Because I think even I remember like back a few years ago when I wasn't really up to date with a bunch of my skills in terms of modern front end development because I was working in Java or something like that many years ago. I still remember that in 6 months things had changed so much that if you don't keep up with that, it's gonna get really hard. So I would say the same thing that instead of like living in the constant fear of layoffs, like build different tools and build with the existing AI models and see which model is good for your job, or just in general, I would say have a more product mindset and build more apps too for yourself. Um, Give me 1 second. It's the chat is not loading properly over here. So let me see. Please post React Native course. I am I am currently enrolled in Next.js course. Best course and instructor. Best is truly. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I am going to focus more on mobile development. I do know that one of the things that um, I really need to focus on is mobile. I am really interested in how you could like ship more mobile applications with just even like Claude. And I'm playing a lot with ZAIs, like even like GLM, tools, sorry, model, and just to see how I could like build more with it. So I'm like saving more tokens because I do think what there's a biggest gap right now in the market wherein like I mean, obviously, frontier models are amazing, right? But also, like, I think that if you are from a country that you don't have the budget or you don't have that kind of money, the subscriptions can be very expensive. So I do think that that is where we are gonna go as well. But I want to post more on React Native, and yeah, that's definitely the plan for sure. All right. If you had to restart your full stack dev career today, what would you learn first? I think if I were to start my full stack career today, what I would basically learn, because personally I really love JavaScript, so I'm just gonna pick a framework that works. It's very popular. And honestly, if I were to start my career today, I would mainly look at how I could improve my prompting skills, my like how to interact a lot with these models, and overall like how I could build and design faster and how I could improve my overall workload. That's what I would be focusing on more, and then getting these AI tools to sort of teach me how I could focus on it. But if I, in terms of like in terms of like, if you're thinking of like full stack frameworks and stuff like that, do think that even though TanStack is great, I do feel like a lot of the AI tooling is around Next.js. So I do feel like I'm going to go with Next.js as a framework, so which has already all the serverless functions and APIs. So it will be easier for me to build with it. Also get jobs too, because the market is pretty good for Next.js right now. Um, and is AI more helpful to a small team than a big company, or it's vice versa? I think AI in general is helpful for everyone, right? Like, I do think that if you are a smaller product team with even like the latest models like Fable 5, like you can literally deploy so many things, you know? Um, and for a bigger company, since it's a bigger ship, they're going to think a lot about, okay, where the product needs to go, and then accordingly ship features. So they might be a little slower because of that, because of the company strategy and whatnot. But I do think that it's useful regardless. I do think that if you are someone who's not using AI at this point, you totally should and get on it as soon as possible, because our jobs are changing as we speak. Why do you never laugh a little bit? Well, I'll try to laugh a little bit. I'm sorry if I'm not laughing. Um, all right. So I am comfortable with React Native and I somehow feel like learning web development. What stack would you recommend me? I think I definitely would recommend Next.js for sure. I do have a video on this, I think, like what is the AI stack that I would go for. I would watch that video. It's on my channel, where I basically talk about what dev tools or what tools that I would like recommend. I would go for Next.js for the backend as well. I would just sort of stick with it. And TypeScript is what I would focus on as well. With TypeScript 7 being out, I think it's really cool. And um, if I were to focus on backend, I would say maybe like Node was what I would focus on, because again, I love TypeScript and JavaScript overall as well. But I know I've heard really good things about Nest and things like that too. All right. All right. Which skills do you think are becoming overrated and which are underrated? I would say, and maybe this is a bit of a controversial take, but I do think like learning maybe even like component design, like splitting up components. I feel like a lot of front end engineers, all they would focus on is, and I focus on it too, is like how you could design your components better, composability, and things like that. I do think with AI being in the picture, I think it does write a lot of the code for us, and it's getting pretty good at composing and whatnot. So those type of skills are getting overrated in my opinion. But the skills that are really underrated right now are, again, system design and architectural skills, wherein a lot of people think that I'm just going to get my AI to build it. But if AI doesn't make the right design choices when you're building it, then you're just going to struggle, unfortunately. All right. Do you think about a Node course, Node Express? Not really at this point. I think I'm more focused on architecture and design skills right now. So yeah, I'm not gonna focus a lot on Node courses. I think even for me, I think as a tech educator, I think I really need to focus on where I could bring the most value to all of you. And I feel like at this point, the most value would be helping you build with AI, teaching you senior design skills and system design, and draw from my experience as well. What would you choose instead of becoming web developer? I would choose traveling and cooking. I think I would also choose, I don't think I would choose cooking, but I would definitely choose traveling. And yeah, I mean, personally, I would just travel and build a lot of different apps. But again, that's similar to web development. I think that's a really good question. If I were not, I guess, what would I do? I would definitely travel, and I would just maybe create travel content. Just like display a lot of my life, and so on. That would be really cool. All right. Currently pursuing my MCA and will be sitting for placements in 2027. I wanted to ask your guidance for How should I prepare over the next year? If you could clarify MCA, and could you clarify what you want to prepare exactly? Because I think that would help, because I'm not sure. Love your content. Amazing. Thank you. Um, what are the biggest mistakes self-taught full stack developers make? I think the biggest mistake is like some of the things we talked about, that I think they really don't focus on architecture and design skills. They focus too much on the code getting generated by AI, I would say. Because I just feel like if you have all the Lego pieces together, then it's a lot easier for you to build versus like focusing too much on like code quality, because we have so many AI tools now that can focus on code quality. The other thing is also like um, trying to not really learn a lot of the fundamentals of coding as well. I mean, I guess now, sure, like with AI, maybe you might debate that it's not necessary, but I do think it's more necessary than ever, because how are you going to know what the code that AI has generated is actually good code or not, you know? I mean, sure, it is good code, it works, but then if something is broken, then it's like very hard for you to debug and fix. So I would say that for sure. What architectural mistakes do you see developers make repeatedly? That's a great question. Um, what architectural mistakes do you see developers make? I would say like the architectural mistakes would be that connecting the wrong services that don't necessarily scale, designing systems that only work for, I guess, maybe a few users, but not really thinking about what would happen if suddenly you get a lot of traffic, not really thinking of performance as well. I think it's even more important to think about performance because of a lot of the traffic that we get from even AI tools in general. Um, Undermining SEO and not really focusing on that as well, I would say, are a few mistakes that come to mind. Using the wrong database, even like, or not adding necessary security measures that really doesn't help either as well. Um, I'm doing web initially with React plus Fast API and now with Next, but don't have any clear idea. Any suggestions for me? I would say like keep building more applications with Next, I would say, because again, like React obviously is really good foundational knowledge, but if you start learning Next, you're going to learn a lot of the skills either. All right. I don't like your last two videos because I don't believe there's any open source model such as Llama that can run well on 8 GB RAM and be genuinely useful. I think I agree to your criticism for sure, but I think what I want to say is that it's it's the gap is bridging very quickly, and that's why I'm started to create videos on that. That not every, I mean, sure, like there are so many frontier models that like work and you pay a subscription and they have the infrastructure, but the gap is closing so much that a lot of our laptops are going to be way more powerful, that you don't have to necessarily worry about it. Like I remember when I think GLM, when it came out, or ZAI came out with a model, it was like 1 TB or something, and now they came up with another one, or even the Google that came, the model that Google came out with as well. Like again, like it can run on your phone. So I do think you should check out my video on like a few models that I've recommended and try to run it, because I have them running and it actually works. So um have you ever earned from Google AdSense? Yeah, I have definitely earned from Google AdSense. Just, I guess, add more links to your application overall, I would say. But I don't think I have the expertise to comment a lot on it. I'm just gonna refresh. Not sure what's going on, but okay. There we go. What should I focus on over the next year to improve my chances of getting a software engineering role? I would say be really up to date with how Cloud Code works, the different modes in Cloud Code, as well how you what different models are really good at. How can you best make those models really efficient to work as well, would be a few things I would focus on. The other thing is also just like system design skills and how you can architect your applications. That would be very useful. I think a lot of companies are changing their interview strategies to, like, you can use AI, but like show me how you're going to build. So more so like showing a thought process for how you would split up a feature, create more frequent PRs, get AI to do it, would actually help you differentiate as a engineer. How is AI changing the role of developers? Um, I would say that, in terms of like AI changing the role, I would say like we'd have to code less and we have to think more about the big picture. We can ship more features. So it's not about what you ship, it's more, it's not about how you ship, it's more about what you ship. So like the features that are there too, I think that would what you're shipping to your users is more important now, because has literally reduced the gap. Like if you think about it, a few years ago developers were, I guess, really high in demand. Even now we are, but I would say they were really high in demand because people coding was really hard. But I think now coding is the easiest part. I think what you do with it, I think, is more important. Um, all right. Are you doing freelancing alone or you have a team for this? So I'm a solo and developer, and I have a tech education business. So that's what I'm doing. And I consult with companies and work with different brands to help them as well. Um, all right. Are you currently working at a company and building something new? If so, I would love to see what you're working on. I think at this point, I'm literally collaborating with different brands to help them achieve their goals overall. I am working for myself right now, and I'm trying to maybe take on more freelancing projects. I am building couple tools for myself to help my education business, such as paraticket.com as well as proofybubble.com, and they just have users that these are just my SaaS products that have a lot of users, and I keep, yeah, growing that and building more features. Alrighty. What else do we have? Can you share your life journey? Um, Give me 1 second. I don't know why this chat is acting up weird. For me, I would say like I personally grew up in India, in Mumbai, and I moved to Canada after for university, and I'm pretty much stayed there. I went to school for computer science and then sort of learned how, the hard way of, I guess, coding. Graduated from my school and then just got a job and started working full time. I worked with companies like IBM and things like that. I've been working on that for over the past 10, 15 years, I would say. And recently I moved to Italy, because I work remotely and I can do what I want, pretty much. But overall, I think in terms of my work experience, I worked as a developer, senior engineer. I also have experience consulting and um, architecting different projects, and then eventually just switching to engineering leadership. And then a couple of years ago, I decided that I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to climb the ladder. So I decided to create content and, I guess, teach more and build courses, which is what I do right now. All right. Is doing lead code still relevant? I personally don't think so. I just feel like companies to push that are, I just don't know what they're doing personally. I just feel like what the way the interviews should change right now is build a feature and then see how you can leverage AI, because that's literally what's going to be your day-to-day job. All right, last question before I have to drop. But I'm a software developer. Do let me know if you need any contribution in projects. I would love to work as a remote intern. Yeah, definitely. If you can like shoot me an email, my email is linked on my YouTube. Just then accordingly, if I have anything, I'll definitely let you know as well. But yeah, I think this was fun. I think I wanted to just quickly connect with all of you and just check, you know, whoops, just check. And yeah, just if you have any help, just please feel free to comment on my videos and make sure to respond to them, or just join my Discord community. I believe Discord is also linked on my YouTube or like on a lot of my videos. So join the Discord community if you need any help as well. All right, thank you so much. I am going to drop.